Real you doing? This is Ezekiel
and Sarah,
and we're here today for another episode of Marriage Matters Live. Hope you guys are doing well.
Yes.
It feels like it's been so long. It's only been a fortnight, but it feels like it's been so long. Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, it does, man. I feel like it's been a minute. Well, you feel like it was just
I
right on time.
catch up on our episodes every now and then.
Oh, is it? So,
yeah.
So this was just like yesterday for you, yeah? Or just, I hear you.
So yeah, well, hey.
Hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah.
Announcement time, now or later? A little bit now, a little bit later?
Yeah, a little bit now, I guess. Yeah,
so, it appears as though, based on our present schedule,
yes.
and most importantly, as before the Lord is leading us, it seems like this is going to be the last episode of Marriage Matters for a season. We want to bring back something better for you guys.
Yeah.
We really need to take some time out, just because there's some other stuff going on at the moment. We really need to kick back and really just kind of just take a step back. So I don't know how long we're going to be gone for. I don't know when we're going to be back. Yeah. I don't know if we're coming back in this format, but
it's probably going to be a bit different. I'm looking forward to a podcast and all that. You know what I'm saying?
So there's a lot of background moving parts that need to get done. So once that stuff's sorted, we'll be back in the game. We'll be back in the game. Yeah, indeed. Definitely. So it's been a pleasure. It's been a joy. But today, like, listen, we couldn't leave. Listen, you know what? So
it's a bit emotional now. It's emotional, Zeke. It's emotional. He just wants to come and like wheel it out, but it's like it's a bit emotional. Yeah. Don't you think? I'm like, can't we just like run one more show?
The funniest thing is, it's like we've got a long list of content
we do.
that we want to discuss with you, share with you. Even like fresh things are still like coming through, and it's just really about just waiting on the Lord. I think. Yeah. We will be back in this space, all right? So if you guys want to get in touch with us, add a comment to the bottom of this video, inbox us so that we can keep you guys up to date with what's going on. Yeah. And one thing that's really key and that we'd like from you guys as well is if there's any kind of ideas, any topics, anything you guys want us to kind of talk about or to share with you guys, look, this is the space for you to let us know. So please, God Life family, Marriage Matters family, this is the space for all of your input and insight. So look, we've got to cut to it. We couldn't leave, all right? We couldn't stop. We couldn't even take a time out. Just consider this a time out, right? We couldn't take a time out without touching on this topic. This topic is so key, so pivotal, and I think it's been super impactful for us, not just over the last year, over the last 5 years, but like for a significant amount of our time together, from dating into marriage, and then just this deep, rich friendship that we've got. It's been important because I think some people seem to think that they see happy couples, or see us, and they might think that like they've got it all together. There's no dramas. It's all working. It's all functional. But challenges happen. There are bumps along the way, bumps on the road along the way, and if I was to kind of put things in like the top three, like. Prayer is number one. Communication with each other is number two. And then number three is what we're really talking about today. And it's the ability to have accountability. Accountability partners, accountability couples. We talk about this so often, stream on stream on stream. And I think today it's abundantly important for us to share with you just like some keys in how to select the right accountability couple. I think a lot of time I've just said, if you see someone who's doing it the way you want it to be done, reach out to them. That is the first port of call, but it's like there are layers to this thing. I don't know if you want to say anything on the intro to that.
I mean, just we know the benefits of having accountability partners.
Absolutely.
I think that's the most important thing here. We wouldn't say something to you that we wouldn't recommend or want recommended to us. And we know how important it is to have accountability partners, just people that you can go to when your marriage is at that place where you need assistance. And I think for me, it's a thing of humility, really, just being able to say, okay, I'm going to let another person come in and tell me the truth and let me know where I'm going wrong, or let my partner see what I'm saying, because again I feel like the right accountability partners really help with the communication, transmission of things in the relationship. Sometimes you're trying to convey your message and you're trying to say, no, this is what I'm saying, this is what I meant, this is what happened. And because things are heated, or because you both have like really different opinions on something and you just can't seem to settle and meet in the middle, it makes things extremely challenging for that message to come across appropriately. And what we found having our accountability partners is that they really do help to kind of navigate that communication sometimes when needed. So yeah,
I agree. I think one of the there's this view that, you know, we get so familiar with each other that it's difficult to break through sometimes. So it's like I feel as though there is this false sense of security, and I'm not saying you shouldn't feel secure in your evaluation of your spouse, of your partner. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that along these journeys, what happens is we get so comfortable. We get so comfortable with the way we talk, the way we're intimate, even the way we argue. And because of these comfortability factors, it becomes a challenge to break through in these challenging times. So I think we've in some coaching sessions with couples, we encourage them, you know, you want to kind of have these kind of a key phrase, a keyword. You want to arrange before you get into that environment something that you can say to the person to trigger them, to have them be alerted to the fact that, you know, this is too much. We're going too far right now. And having accountability is powerful because you can sit down the way we are. Look, there are two couples, all right? So over the years, just cutting straight into the meat of stuff. So over the years, there's been two couples who have fed into our relationship. When there are challenges, we'll talk to them. We take their counsel. And something I want you to acknowledge here is, for us personally, those two couples here couldn't be more different, all right? One of them, they both kind of come from the same country. They've got very similar culture, and even though they're different in character, and they are much, much, much older. That's right to say, isn't it? They're an elderly couple. Do you understand? So kind of at that parental age, and so that's one of our accountability couples. The other accountability couple is a young couple. They're younger than us. Again, they're quite different. It's fairly different upbringings, you might say. But I want you to understand that the difference in age, just first of all, in age is massive. We've got an accountability couple that is younger than us. We've got an accountability couple that is much older than us. And both of them, at different times, in different ways, have been able to help us through troubled times, help us through challenges, enrich our relationships, be a sober voice in the corner or across the table when we've needed it. And I think this is abundantly important for you to understand that, you know, age isn't really a factor when it comes to an accountability couple. And this is what, like, you have some elderly couples who are like, no one younger than me could ever give me advice. And when you start from that space, uncle or auntie, the challenge is that what you're doing is you're refusing to be humble enough to help your relationship.
That's right.
So your mindset says, only someone my senior, only someone older than me can help me. But the reality is, we've had kings who are young, queens who are young, and have done very well in their stead. And it's important that we acknowledge that wisdom, albeit comes with age, can actually come from experience. And this is one of the things we need to really characterize. So we've got two kind of really different age ranges, yet the wisdom that comes from both sides, the counsel that comes from both sides, and it's different as well. I'd say we'd go to the couples for different issues, different things. So one side of the fence may be a little bit more regular, and it may be a little bit more broad brush, where another side of the ring might be to go to when we've got maybe some tough decisions that we need to be ironed out for us. So
definitely.
So I think that's key. Just really to kind of tackle it from the perspective of age. So when we're thinking about age, so when you're selecting an accountability couple, I think one of the key things that you need to focus on, and we've said this from the beginning, probably from the first, second, and third streams, and continued on with it, is what's their worldview. The worst thing you can do is take counsel from somebody who doesn't agree with your worldview. So, for example, we're strong believers in our relationship of kind of having how can I say it correctly? So like our foundations are primarily biblical. All right, so there's a core biblical foundation to the way that we do marriage. When you build on top of that, an upper layer of that is that we're very cultural in terms of the way that we believe there's a form of cultural respect that exists within our parents' community that we have chosen to adopt as well. And some of that a lot of that really can trickle out of our faith-based foundation, to be fair with you. So when we're looking at our accountability, looking to the people that are going to feed into our relationship, it is vital that they align, that their views, worldviews, that their lifestyles align with our worldview. And this is very, very key, because if you're going to seek counsel, for example, I went to go and speak to one of the husbands, right? And I speak to one of them, accountability couples, I'm talking to the husband, and I'm asking for advice. And their view was that it's okay for a person to be unfaithful. That automatically causes a problem for me. Because it doesn't feed into the goals that we spoke to you guys about setting up very early on in your relationship. It doesn't feed into the longevity or the health of our relationship based on the standards that we've got. So this is really key, right? So this ties into, and if you've not seen some of the early streams, go back to the early playlists and check through some of the early videos. But building your foundational family plan is key, because you can't get accountability for a plan that doesn't exist.
Yes, that's right.
If you don't have a structure and agreement between yourselves, husband and wife, how can you seek counsel, advice, or wisdom for that? And they're just like, some people might say, my parents know, or my siblings know, or this person just knows. The problem is, if you're permitting them to drive your relationship and you don't have a structure in place, then you're driving where they want you to go. Yeah, exactly. They've picked your destination, not you.
Yeah, definitely. I love it when he just, he can just deliver the word. Yeah, no, I mean, me personally, when it comes to accountability, I'm not saying that parents shouldn't have the post.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's kind of wise to not have it that kind of close to home, in a sense, because you do want your accountability partners to not have a bias. They need to be able to see things from both people's perspectives, as opposed to both people's perspective, but then heavily weighing on one side, basically. Obviously, if one of you have done something wrong and it's just wrong, the person should be able to say to you, like, no, like, you're just outright wrong, as opposed to, it's because you're my daughter, so I'm gonna more weighing towards your side, kind of thing. So when it comes to accountability partners, it's definitely something you really have to pray about. Like, some people do have amazing parents that actually can take that post of being the accountability for the marriage, because they are that wise and they are that humble themselves to be able to say, I see you as one now, whether it's the wife's parents, and they can take that man on as their son, the way they see their daughter as the way they see him, to really balance things out. I mean, you do have some parents that are like that, they don't have that kind of, they're not judgmental, and they're not like, because they're able to, remove themselves from being parents and now put themselves in that accountability role, kind of thing. So I'm not saying that parents are completely ruled out or anything, but it's definitely something that we have to pray about who is going to take that post. And especially for those of you that are kind of like newly walking down the road of marriage and you just haven't even thought about it, or you've kind of had accountability partners but they're just like people that you're used to telling your problems to. And it's the thing, a lot of people think, my best friend, she's 100% can be my accountability partner, she knows me so well, like she's been in this relationship with me, like, do you know what I mean, kind of thing, like she knows what I'm going through, there's nothing I don't hide from her, or vice versa. So sometimes people might just automatically think, like my homie, like that, him and the wife have to be it, kind of thing, because they know us and stuff like that. So people can just think, because certain people have been in their lives for so long, and they know them well, that
they automatically
take that role.
They inherit the role.
Exactly, but it's not something that you take lightly, especially, like I said, if you are, if this is all kind of new to you. Even some people have been married for a long time and they don't have those people, you know, so they don't have those people. So it's not just like newlyweds that need this advice. People are in relationships 5, 6, 7, 8 plus years, and they've never put their relationship in that place where they have opened it for other people to be able to minister to them at the time that they need ministering to. A lot of people, especially in church, they might run to the pastor, they might run to the deacon, they might run to the sister in the Bible study group or whatever, and discuss their problems that way, and have these individual assessments, individual conversations, and then the sister, I'll pray with you over the situation, whatever. But it's not a set person. It's different people, advice from here, advice from there, counsel from here, counsel from there, which can also bring a challenge because everyone's going to be saying something different.
Absolutely.
You know, so if this is something that, you know, you're like, yeah, I think we definitely need this, it's important to begin to pray about it, because it's something that, you know, these people can make a difference in your life. And if you pick wrong, it's a wrong difference that they're going to make, and if you pick right, it's a right difference that they're going to make. So it's important to seek the Lord about who these people are going to be. You know, I mean, sometimes you might not even be looking, but God is so gracious that He is able to, you know, send people your way, and it can just, you know, be something that's kind of supernaturally happens in a sense, you know. So that is always, you know, but it's definitely something to look out for, and, you know, begin to pray about. Like, seriously, start adding that into your prayer time. I think that's key. Sarah's touched on so many powerful points there, and I think one of the key things that she's highlighting there is just a balance. They need to be a well balanced individual. They need to be a well balanced couple, and I think just to really characterize this, so I think it should be a couple. And it's not to say that your pastor, your deacon, your sister in the Bible studies, Sister Sarah said, can't support you. They definitely can. But I think it's the undertone is this. Some people, it's difficult for a person to give what they don't have. It's very difficult for a person to give what they don't have. So someone who's been divorced 10 times, or even twice, who's challenged one way or another, that's not really the best person to feed into your relationship. Don't get me wrong, they may have learned from that. There may be experiences that they can share, and that can be beneficial. But the point is, and I'm not saying that we just negate every divorced person. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, ideally, you want to model on what you want to model your relationship on what has worked, basically. So someone may say, oh, they're divorced and it's been like, oh, so many troubled times, but now they've got the master key to success. That's great. Yet you want to observe a relationship that is functional, a relationship that is healthy, a relationship that is fruitful. So most assuredly, you should be looking for a married couple who is happily married. And this is really, really key, because when Sarah said just now about, you know, there's this person, that person, this person, that person, the danger is you don't select one voice. So a couple, like, if you come at us, and especially our children have learned this, it's like, you know, the boys or the girls, let's say early in the day, may go to Sarah and say, oh, Mum, can I have this? She says no. So then they want to try a thing, and they'll come to me and they'll be like, oh, Dad, can I have this? And, like, you know, you learn with time as you're parenting. And I'm like, what did your mum say? Did you ask your mum? Yeah, Mum said. I'm so, why are you coming to ask me when your mum said no? And that's the power of having a united couple. And that is what you want to draw from an accountability couple. And as I said, if you're speaking to this person, and that person, and thinking, oh yeah, you know, as the scripture says, in the multitude of counsel there's safety, you're thinking, okay, if I can speak to so many different people, it's going to make it better for me. We need to use ample wisdom to ensure that we are going to the right multitude, all right, to the right counselors. So from our perspective, like I said, we've got two pairs which are our accountability couple. So that's counsel. But if you're going to like 10 different people who have 10 different views, and who half of who have never had success with marriage, that is going to put you in a position where you're going to be very challenged when it comes to trying to find clarity in a specific situation where you may need to come to a conclusive decision by a particular time. That can be a real challenge for you. So for us,
I think it's very, very important that you've got one voice, as Sarah said, speaking to you, and you're also that the people are well balanced. So, and I like the way that you put it about the parents, just saying that, you know, there are some parents who have the capacity. And obviously, if you're looking at, if you have parents who you know are some that have a degree of humility, if you know you have parents who are succeeding in marriage, you want to draw from them. It's very difficult because you've also got to think about the mindset and the emotional disposition of your spouse. So, for example, if I was feeding the relationship from my accountability couple, which I said was my parents, they've got it on lock, then there is a high chance that Sarah could feel some form of insecurity or upset in that situation, because it's always my parents we go to get the advice and to get the counsel. Like,
and even sometimes that could even cause more problems, really, because if the other spouse doesn't feel that things are well balanced, because and that's what I was saying, if it's not, it has to be extremely balanced in order for that to work. You know, once the other spouse now just feels like it's unbalanced, it's just not going to work. So it definitely has to be a very well structured, you know, position in a sense for the parents of the spouse.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think another thing to consider is really just about the way in which you evaluate the couple. So when you're looking at them, it's just like, oh yeah, like just today, a lot of things really kind of revolve around money. So it's like, oh, they're really rich. You know, really rich financially could also equate to really poor emotionally.
True.
Yeah, or
True.
Desolate spiritually.
Definitely.
So and I'm not saying that's the case. You do have some people who are
Both.
wealthy naturally, materially, wealthy spiritually, wealthy physically, and it's about really observing those things. And again, these things have to be informed by your personal relationship plan. So if you're saying, look, we have a desire to really be healthy and to really spend some time working out together, we have a desire to have great communication. So as you're observing couples, as you're observing relationships, and you don't always have to go far afield. Sometimes, you know, you can seek people that are outside of your personal network, but at the same time, there may be people in your, like, you know, nuclear community that you can speak to, and you're seeing that, you know, their communication is good, you're seeing that these things, and you just start by asking them a few questions. Would it be possible for myself and my spouse to sit down with you and your spouse and have a conversation? An initial conversation is a great place to start. And maybe this leads on to the next thing, is really vulnerability. Like, you really want a couple that is willing to be vulnerable.
Exactly.
And this is really a difficult one, because our accountability couples, especially, I'm thinking of one of them specifically, they've really opened to us about, I shouldn't say one of them, they both have, but things that other people don't know. Your accountability, it happens that your accountability couple, not always, but can share, bring those things to you guys. That's right. And it's important, because what you have to understand is, I don't talk to anyone and everyone about the issues in our relationship, because talking to them doesn't help us develop or help our relationship build. However, there may be challenges that we've had that we can use as a lesson to feed into a couple that we're coaching and we're being accountable to, or we're accountable for, etc., etc. So these things are really, really key for us to acknowledge and take on board. So look, listen, I can't express this as I don't know, with enough gusto. Like, everybody needs accountability couple, and you said it a moment ago, some couples don't have this, and this is how we started. When we started, I was very much about, look, this is the structure, this is the regiment of our relationship, etc., etc. And the reason being is because
it goes past these four walls.
Yeah, exactly. I'm coming to it. Because the reason being is, like, I'd seen some relationships. Yeah. I'd seen some things in relationships. Remember you say I'd experienced some things in relationships, and based on those things there, I had made a commitment within myself that those things, those challenges, those problems, those kind of heartaches would not come here.
Itself.
Yeah. And so based on those things, like, you've got friends, you've got ex-girlfriends, you've got other relationships, you've seen things with your parents, you've got aunts and uncles, like, seeing all of those things have caused me to say, you know what, says, we are gonna, everything we have is gonna be resolved within these four walls. Do you understand? Within these four walls, this is what it will be. No external contributing factor will come in. And you know what? That served us well for a good long time. Yeah. And it still benefits us today. Yeah. Yet what happened was, as we became more committed to God, more devoted to God, accountability came up. And you cannot be an island on your own.
That's right.
So you need to be able to go out, and it's a demonstration of humility by us saying, you know what, can you support us? Like if like you sit down with the older couple, you sit down with the younger couple, and you say, look, can we talk to you guys about this? We have this issue, we have this challenge, we have this scenario, and those things there enhanced what we already had going. There were things that were major roadblocks emotionally that we were going through, and we couldn't get through those things the way we did without going to accountability couple X, sharing the scenario with them and having them, like, you know, help us, hold our hand through, counsel us through those things. Outside of that, it's like these were real major issues. So it's very important that I'm saying to each and everyone who's watching this now, watching it live, watching this on the replay, it's very important that you have an awareness of the importance of an accountability couple. And this is the reality. You won't always acknowledge the value until things maybe go bad. All right. And we're not praying for that. It's like, it's possible for you to negate some of those challenges by having the accountability couple, yet it enforces, it enhances the healing process. It enhances the process of developing your relationship to the next stage by having that couple there. So I can't express the importance of this enough. It is vital, it is key, it is pertinent for each and every one of us. We started without it, and now we are excelling with them in our relationships now. So super important stuff. I think we're gonna tackle some stuff.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, especially like when you feel like the relationship is stagnant, like nothing's happening. Yeah. You're not moving forward. You know, both of you have tried to resolve certain things. Both of you have really, you feel like you've put a lot of effort into, you know, communicating and getting the message across. You've gone on dinner dates, you've had date nights, and you've tried to bring these conversations up, and you really feel like you've been doing what you can to push through to just like make the relationship that little bit better, you know, and the things that you've been struggling with, you know, both of you have tried to tackle it, and it's just not working. Nothing seems to be, you know, getting through. And you know what, to be fair, it's kind of like you're saving money. You're saving that money that you'd pay to a counsellor.
Yeah, this is why you got to make sure you pick the right couple, innit? This is why you got to make sure you pick the right couple.
Exactly, because some people will now go, oh, instead of thinking accountability, they're thinking, let's go for counselling. Yeah. Because they want that second voice. And sometimes it's not that the relationship needs counselling, the relationship just needs to be heard from a different perspective. You know, and sometimes people spend, you know, so many hours and so much money running around looking for the right counsellor and all these kind of things to help fix little things that are sort of broken. But we all know that communication is the beginning of a great relationship. Like if you sort out the communication aspects of things, the relationship's able to progress a lot further. And accountability partners help you with that. You know, if you're watching this and you have accountability partners, leave in the comments and just let us know, like, yeah, like I really feel like the relationship has gotten better. Now we do have these people in our lives. And or if you feel like it actually got worse, let us know, because, you know, some people, like we said, you might not have picked the right people. You might have thought, yeah, it's my close friend, they've known me for 20 years. She's been married for 5 years. Oh, let them be our accountability partner, babes. And things have not actually worked out. Do you get what I mean? So let us know how accountability has gone for you. If you do have, if you don't have, leave it in the comments, because like I said, like when people read these things, when they see it, they're like, okay, so it's not just me, you know, because it's like, it's very beneficial for us to really like share what it is that we're all kind of experiencing as well. So yeah, so for me, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, okay, do we go for counselling, or do we pray about the Lord bringing people into our lives that are really going to be there for us on a regular basis? Because this is the thing, you know, the accountability partners, they can be there for you as often as you need them. And this is obviously something that you and them have to sit down and talk about. Can you guys support us when we need you? Can we come? How often can we have sessions? Whatever it may be. How often can we sit down and or can we go out every so often to talk about things? You know, it doesn't have to be one of those sit down in the house and, you know, drinking tea and looking at each other, dipping biscuits in it. Do you know what I'm saying? It can be things that, you know, couples do. So yeah, so for me, it's all about understanding that accountability partners help you on a they can help you on a day-to-day basis, because when you're doing things, you know, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, like, if I do this, what are these going to say? So it even kind of helps me to think about certain things that I'm going to do, because if we go back and they're like, nah, Sarah, that was wrong. And I knew it already kind of thing. So it does kind of like stop you sometimes from misbehaving in a sense, because a lot of the times, you know, we kind of, you know, when we get to the place.
You heard that, yes? You know it's right, yeah? Hope you're not listening.
I'm just saying.
You're just saying it hypothetically.
You're just not saying it.
Hypothetically. Hypothetically.
Anyway, you don't know me already, yeah?
Yeah, we do. I do.
Yeah. So for me, you know, it's one of those things where sometimes if I want to do something, I think to myself, oh man. Or if I know that I've just like overstepped the line, or I've really just kind of, you know, I already know, oh my gosh, like, I'm going to get it kind of thing. But the good thing is I get the truth. Truth, and it puts you in a position where it's kind of like, you're not being lied to, you're not being gassed, you're not being, they're not sugarcoating things, you know, it's not like, oh, don't worry about it. No, you get like the honest truth. And that's why it's just so important for it to be the right team, right team. Because you want the relationship to just continue to grow and get stronger. I mean, I love our accountability partners, to be fair. And, you know, when you get to that place where because even sometimes, you know, some relationships, they're struggling intimately, like a lot. They're really struggling with intimacy. And, you know, so a lot of couples keep that to themselves because it's kind of like a bit embarrassing sometimes, like, oh my gosh, like struggling with intimacy, struggling in this particular area. It's kind of like, well, who am I going to talk to that about? And that's why some people prefer to go and pay someone, because they're like, oh, I don't know you. You're not really in my circle, so I can tell you whatever. But realistically, you know, it should be a thing of where you should, you know, you and the accountability partners should be able to even sit down and discuss those things, you know. And that's why, like Zeke was saying, that the people have to be well balanced, they have to be experienced, they have to be, age is not a factor. Okay, age is not a factor, because, you know, like Ezekiel said, you can have like a couple who are old and they don't have no wisdom, and you have a young couple that have a lot of wisdom.
Come on now.
Okay, so age doesn't mean wisdom, right? Wisdom is from God. So yeah, it's all about ensuring that the people that you're talking to are people that are from your kind of, because I mean, you're not gonna go and pick someone who does, if you're a believer, so then they say to you, oh yeah, like, oh, me and my husband do yoga, you sort of should try it, you know, it's gonna help, the meditation's gonna help your marriage. You're gonna be like, what? You know, so it is important for spiritual aspects to be right as well with the people that you're associating with in this area. So,
I feel like so much, like, you got the juice today. Like, listen, so talk to us about some of the problems, and you've done it now. Like, girls reading my mind fully. I was going to say, talk to us about some of the problems of going to the wrong accountability couples, and you've kind of mentioned it now with the whole yoga thing and kind of going outside. But what would you say in terms of and I want you to elaborate. You spoke about like friends. What's the problem with going to your friends with your business? And if you want to use the example of intimacy like you just did there, maybe that's a good one to tackle. Like, what's the challenge there? Especially where you're going to someone who's not married or who's, you know, toxic, and then like imbalance. So like talk like
Well, that's not really accountability. That's mainly gossip, isn't it? You're going for a little gossip session, really. Because if you're picking people that are not, you know, going to help the marriage, and as well, the accountability, it has to be the two of you and them. Yeah. Not the wife and the friend.
Come on now.
You know, or not the husband and his friend. It's a thing of where both people have to sit down and have these sessions and have these discussions. You know, if the one person is now going over with the problem, that's mainly going for a gossip session or a chit chat, because the other person isn't there to give their view, to have their say, to be heard, and all that kind of stuff. So it's not balanced. That's just one-sided. And then for me, talking to friends, I just feel like, again, that's not really beneficial, because friends can be very biased. And then it's about the window that you're opening for them to look through. And that's another thing. You know, if you're opening a particular window up for your friends, I mean, my friends know me. I'm very, when they see me in Zeke's, they see me in Zeke's. We don't hide our affections or whatever. I can be quite affectionate, you know, towards him in public, but...
And also quite...
Quite what? Say it, Ezekiel. Quite what?
You can have some, some ways, some man, and sometimes as well, It's not just, it's like she's just lovey all the time. It's like that is all the time, yeah?
What do you mean, like acne facey?
Well, basically.
This guy.
Is it not so though?
No, babe. No.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
not fancy to you like that.
Okay, cool.
I have to kind of say that under my breath because I'm not sure sometimes.
Go on.
Anyway.
Alright, cool.
So, like I was saying, so for me, it's kind of like, especially when it comes, in that area, you have to be careful because you don't know who's for you, who's against you. That's the thing, But at least when you've picked the right accountability partners, you know that they're out for your success. They're out for their marriage. They're not trying to come for your marriage. Whereas some people are trying to come for your marriage, you get what I'm trying to say? So you have to be very, very, very careful who you're opening windows and doors to, especially for your marriage. So just talking to your friends about things, that's fine. You can have the rare, oh yeah, things are all right, they're not that great, we're kind of struggling. We've been struggling with communication lately, You can have like basic conversations, but if you know that they can't take you to the next level to get past that issue, there's just no point in having that conversation. And that's the thing about the accountability process, is that they're there to kind of help you jump over certain hurdles. They're there to help you, map things out. They're here to listen. They're here to say, okay, have you guys tried this? Okay, yeah, we've tried this. Okay, well, maybe you lot need to do this. And, they help you navigate through your plan. Like you said, if you have a plan, they know this is what you're trying to achieve. Okay, so how can we help you navigate through this to get you to the destination that you're trying to get to? Whereas with the friends, it's just kind of like, oh, you lot be all right, man. You lot know yourselves anyway. Do you know what I mean? Oh, you lot been together forever. Blah 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 blah. Oh, And again, not every friend. Don't get me wrong. Not every friend. Some friends have very good advice. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, because if you're thinking about, let's just to say, the one of the accountability partners is a good friend.
Yeah.
They're a good friend.
Yeah.
And they're your accountability partner. So obviously they're going to give you the best advice that they can.
Yeah.
So it's not that friends just give you, rubbish advice or they're just there to gossip. However, it depends on the friends that you are talking to. Like sometimes if we have like girls' night or whatever, I'm very cautious on the conversations that flow. How things are said, what things are said. If some of the girls want to start having certain conversations, I might not jump in, or it can be a point to kind of like pivot it and change subject.
Yeah.
Or you can just kind of like say certain things, but they know already, your friends should know already like how open you are about your relationship, and they know like we just don't have that kind of conversation because everyone's got their own, you get what I'm saying, their own thing going on, kind of thing. So yeah, it just kind of varies. Obviously, I don't know how it's for guys. I don't know how guys sit down, they be chit chatting about their wives and stuff like that. But
yeah, guys are raw, innit? Guys will be talking everything, innit? And it's like straight. But I think the space I'm at now, especially with the kind of at the mature side of kind of life, so to speak. So much like you said, and I guess we discussed that to a degree. But I have a high standard of governance around what I share and how I share. It's like, obviously, I'm a man, I'm very kind of imaginative, and my mind can flow in that way. So you have to be very careful, and I'm sure we have touched on this before, but you have to be very careful on how you present your wife or your husband in the mind of somebody else, because imaginations run, and tries to make me believe that women don't operate like that. But from my perspective, I know myself, and I know that we are very visual, very kind of, so you have to be mindful. So you won't catch me talking about, some of the more intimate sides of our relationship and that kind of stuff. People think it's cool. Okay. People think it's cool to be talking about, oh yeah, like we're struggling with this, we're having this. It's like, that's not the kind of thing that you should say to everyone. And I think we need to be very, very mindful about the structure that is present when we have those kind of conversations. So if it's the lads are out and it's the lads night and it's like, we're all talking about wives, I think that can be an unhealthy environment to initiate that kind of conversation, because firstly you're saying, oh yeah, it's okay to have this kind of conversation in this manner all the time, and then it's kind of, depending on the way it comes up, it can be a very kind of loose, jovial thing. Some people are struggling with certain things, and I think there are times and places for that, but definitely not, you know, in that kind of group setting where there's
all there to have this conversation. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just like maybe some guys get together to talk about their wives and issues that they are facing, and kind of be like, okay, bro, like this is what I did when I was in that situation. Do you get what I'm saying? This kind of worked for me. Maybe you could try it. Blah blah blah. Maybe some people can get together with their friends and have those meaningful conversations. I can't remember the word. So constructive conversation.
So obviously I have a good friend, and some years ago he set up, because he said he saw that there was a lack of forums for men to come together and be vulnerable like that in the same space. So he kind of initiated that, and kind of was like in many senses in the community that we were in, was a forerunner in terms of really establishing that stuff, setting it up, and ensuring that this was a place that men could come and be built up together. So in those kind of environments that you're describing, that's cool. I think at the very same time, the issue is this: if you have a close-knit community and being a kind of having the kind of makeup that I think men have, you must be very mindful and very guarded on how you share things. I'm not saying I won't discuss certain things with our accountability couple. But I'm saying amongst like a wider group or a larger group, it's very important for men to be mindful how they present their spouse, and not even just their spouse, not even just their spouse, but even just like their family, the unit, because things can be misconstrued and taken the wrong way when you're not in a safe zone. And this is like we said it from earlier on as we started this whole stream, started this whole Marriage Matters enterprise. And I think what's key is for us to acknowledge that this is a safe zone. We said it to you from there. This is a safe zone where you can come and we can talk within the safety of this community. And it's much the same way. Your accountability couple is a safe zone. Like that is I said from the top end, there's 3 points. It's like prayer. All right. That's one. That's between you and God personally. Then between your spouse and God. We'll talk about this later anyway. And then the layer 2 is conversation, which is between myself and Sarah. We should have that space where it's safe. So safe zone between us and God, between me and God, between us and God, safe zone between us. And then you extend that safe zone to your accountability couple. And those 3 layers of safe are important to ensure that your relationship can build within the right foundation. These things are key. Because if we don't set these things up right, if you say, oh, my accountability couple comes before me and Sarah, or me and Sarah comes before me and God, like that imbalance can cause issues down the road. So it's very, very important that we've got that foundation right. Yeah, man. I think we tackled on a lot of stuff that we wanted to tackle on. Is there anything have I missed anything, babe?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, how would you advise couples to identify who is kind of right as an accountability partner?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I kind of touched on it earlier on, and I think the key thing is just really for us to look at our personal family goals and then observe those around us. And Sarah made a really, really good point. This is key. In all things, we need to be prayerful. Like, if you think that, just you're wise enough to select that right couple, and some people think, they pick a couple and that's their couple for life. And we've been graced, like God has graced us to the point where for the last 10 years of our relationship, or like thereabouts, less than, I can't say 10 years, but for the last few years of relationship, we've had consistently the same 2 accountability couples see us through this season. And I bless the Lord for that, because it's good. And it's not always the way. You may have a couple that can support you. You may have a couple that's maybe they're supporting too many couples already, so they can't support you. That's your ideal couple. So it's not always the way that they can be the ones that support you. But I think it's just really about being prayerful as a primary, talking to your spouse, as I said already, and establishing that, we need someone. These are our goals. What do you think we should be looking for in a couple? Really discussing those things together, and then having the expectation that, that couple will be there for you. And then you go out and you must be proactive about this. This isn't something that you can do kind of just passively. It's a proactive exploit for you to meet, for you to connect, for you to be transparent. And if you don't have that integrity in you, then it's not going to really work for you to go to expect that couple to have integrity and share that with you, basically. So as much as you're evaluating your accountability couple, they're evaluating you. If they think you're a time waster, you're wasting time, it's highly likely that they won't take you seriously. Yeah. And I'm talking about where it's not a paid, this isn't a paid kind of scenario. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? So some people give their time to others and they waste it. They don't value it. Yeah. And people acknowledge that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it's really just about observing the lifestyle of the couple, evaluating your goals versus what you see in that couple. For some people, it's like 2 or 3 accountability couples, and follow me here, like now, because it's mentorship. And you may say this couple, their communication is key. And I think that we could learn a lot from them in terms of their communication. And you specifically reach out to them and say, we've noticed that you guys have really great communication and we want to learn from you. Is it possible for us to maybe make some time once a month, a little bit more frequent if you have the time, for us to connect and really just try and learn from you guys, discuss some of our communication with you guys? That's one angle. So, and what you don't want is like 20 different accountability couples for 20 different aspects of your relationship. Right. But you want to kind of keep it down, like between 1 and 3 major items. If you can have one accountability couple to start with and you work with that couple, I think that will really benefit you in the longer term. So I think this has really been one of the missing pieces for a lot of people's relationships.
Definitely.
When you look back, we spoke about this to a degree some streams back. There are cultures that encourage the elders to kind of feed in, to look after, you know, to sow into the younger ones. And sometimes those cultures where the right people are positioned, you can see those younger relationships really flourish. You see this in a lot of Asian relationships. You see this in a lot of African cultures. You see this in some Asian cultures. So this is very, very key. And I think that the humility to open the door to another person, to another couple, is key. So listen, this is the biggest blocker to your relationship with your accountability couple is pride.
Oh, definitely.
Pride is you know why? Because firstly, pride will stop you from asking for help. Yeah. Then pride will stop you from going to the couple with issues. Yeah. Then pride will stop you from listening to that couple. Yeah. And those 3 things are the things that will really block you. Yeah. You know, you're too proud to ask for assistance because you want everyone to see your relationship as gold dust. When you see us coming, the trail of gold just blows behind us.
The sparkles.
Do you understand? It's
the filter is on.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, can't you see this is real filter? It's like filter 3D. And it's like, that's the challenge. It's like that kind of a mindset really undermines the integrity of your relationship, the success of your relationship. And children are like, this is always a major thing. And I think I'll draw this from Sarah now because of her love and appreciation for children. And I think that children are the level that we need to look at. We need to constantly be looking the layer below us. How are our children going to be affected if we don't seek accountability? How will the children be affected if we don't go to the couple with this problem that we've got right now? How are the children going to be affected if we don't apply that? And for those of you that don't have children, it's about the health and the vitality of your relationship. You've got to see your relationship as a living entity. When the 2 of you come together, you're one entity, and you've got to look at the life of that joint entity. And this is really, really key. So you know, the relationship, and when I say the relationship, the marriage, the union, the covenant will suffer if we don't implore humility. This is abundantly important, and I pray that you really take this on board, because these are like what we've spoken about today is key. It's like some of the keys we've given you. If you go back through some of the playlists, we've spoken about communication, we've spoken about like intimacy, you know, keeping the love alive and those kind of things. And outside of those proactive bits, and specifically having a spiritual foundation to your marriage, look, this is the next big thing. Once you've got things right, you've got a core structure set up. The next thing is to keep your structure in place. And you do that by keeping accountable to each other, and also bringing in that external accountability. You understand that? And it really kind of has the power to exclude, you know, that kind of toxic behavior in a relationship as well, because you're kept in check, like you said, you said earlier on. And it's like it's one of those things, like you're mindful. Like we play games with it as well. It's just like I report you, you know, carry on like this, I'm going to report you. So we make it like a game, so we know it's like it doesn't have to be this kind of tense thing all the time. It's just like maybe in the heat of a moment, on the odd occasion, it'll be like I'm going to report you. This is what you've done. But more time, it's like, continue with your way. Oh, when I report you, when I call them, like, you'll know what time it is. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like we know ourselves, and because our vision is to have success at home, we know that when we check our partner like that, we check each other like that, that we know that we're gonna sit up right, we're gonna act correct, because that's our view, that's our desire for the relationship. So Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I kind of feel like we finished early today. Have we
finished?
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I've maxed out all the points, I think.
He's bashing.
I've said...
He's hungry.
I've said... I'm not sorry. I've touched on everything that I think I had here. So really, I guess, like, over to you guys. If there are any questions that you guys got, anything... I know I didn't throw out any questions during the stream today, but if there's any questions you guys have got about accountability couples, about setting things up, any scenarios you want to share... let us know. Chuck it in the comments right now. We'll just jump into the comments and try to answer a couple of you guys' questions before we fold out for today. But yeah, this is super important.
I was going to say that I feel like it's important to understand that this isn't a joke. It's not something that you're going to just mess about with. You know, it's something that is very, very serious. And the people, you have to respect them. You have to take them seriously, like when they're speaking to you, you know, even if you know them and you know them personally, you've known them for a long time, you know, when you are having these type of communications and when you're having these talks, it's very important to take what they're saying on board. And it's not just like, you can't waste their time.
That's right.
Their time is precious. They're taking time out of their day. They're taking time out of their relationship to come and sit down and speak to you. So it's very important that you are able to respect these people. Doesn't matter, like we said, how old they are, doesn't matter who they are, you know, you have to respect them and give them the honor that is due.
Come on.
You know, at the time, at that, you know, for what it is that they're doing for you, kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, for me, I definitely think it is a gold coin in a relationship to have accountability partners, because it does make you, it allows you to understand that you're not alone, and it gives you the sort of that peace that we do have people that we can call if things are not, you know, going how they should be going.
100%.
You know, and it is really nice to have that. It is really nice to have that. So we really are encouraging you to begin to seek the Lord for these people in your life if you don't have them already, or if you have them and you're thinking to yourself, you know, I really didn't pray about this. We just ended up having them as accountability partners. You know, still take it to the Lord in prayer. Still take it to the Lord in prayer, and just to ensure that you are on the right path with that particular task. So yeah.
You ready?
Yes. Ready.
All right.
Okay.
Let's pull it up.
We just really want to thank everyone that has watched any episode, that has left a comment, that has subscribed, that has shared, that has liked. Listen, it's been a wonderful experience. I think it's been almost has it been over a year?
It's been a while.
It's been a minute, yeah. I think we're doing it for a little while now. So yeah, but I am kind of looking forward to the new chapter, to be fair. So yeah.
Right, Grace I says accountability, a powerful one. Yep, indeed. I think we couldn't take a break without touching on this. I think this is really, really important, and accountability needs to be touched on. I hope I've been able to emphasize it from my perspective. I know Cez has been chucking it in, so I hope you guys are seeing the power of it too. Good evening, guys. Kat Johnson says, Grace I says, good evening at Kat Johnson. Also, Kimwin, good evening, sir, says, thank you all. Fantastic evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, we've got loads of pleasantries. Grace is saying hello. Only honest, trusted friends. Yeah, and I think that's a key. I think we've hopefully highlighted this as a significant point, a significant factor thus far. You know, anybody who wants a successful relationship has to understand you can only convey the inner chambers of your relationship to someone who's trusted. An accountability partner must be someone that you trust.
That's right.
And so here noted that they must be a trusted friend, and it's honest, trusted friend. And this is key. For me, it's like, maybe I almost take it for granted that all of our accountability partners are friends. You could classify them as friends in a capacity, but it's not always the case. Sometimes it's kind of like I said, one of the couples is quite senior to us, so I won't typically call them friends, but when I evaluate our relationship, there's love. It's a love of and a bond of friendship that exists therein. So it's very, very important that we understand that this is very, very key. And that does not mean your best friend automatically qualifies, as Sarah said. It does not mean that at all. You must understand that your best friend may not necessarily be your marriage accountability partner. Even
though they're married and they have been for a long time, you know, they might tick all the boxes, but they just might not be the ones.
It's deep. Like, I remember an account where like someone was going to someone, giving them loads of the insight in their relationship, and what happened penultimately was that the person now went back to the husband and spoke to him and said like, oh look, you know, these are all the dramas that's going on in your relationship, and attempted to use that as leverage against the husband to form a relationship. So you've got to be very, very mindful. It's like you've got to be key in terms of these types of scenarios. Okay, it's very important. Who you connect with and who you're talking to. Thank you, sir, for the comment. Thank you, everyone, so far. Grace I says, so do you have to already have a strong relationship with a couple before you choose them as your accountability? Or can someone really be your accountability couple if you don't have a certain level of insight?
Into their relationship already. Into their relationship already. Should you pick a couple to be your accountability couple of...
When you don't know,
if you don't know enough about their relationship.
You want to answer that? You can start us off and I'll come in after.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of spoke about that already. It is important to know them, in a sense, because even before, and that's why we said it's about prayer and evaluation. You're praying about these, you know, you're praying about the people. You're also looking at those that are around you, those that you have around you, you know, and saying like, you know, Lord, is it this person? Father, could we go to this person? And you just kind of have to continue to keep it in prayer, because most of the people that you're going to have as accountability partners are going to be people that you admire their relationship to some degree, like, because they have to have something to offer you. If their relationship is worse than yours, what's the point?
So the question was kind of like, the topic of the question was like, how much about their relationship do I need to know? Can I go to can I just be like, oh, like, hi, like, you know, I've seen you at work and I know you're married, can you be my accountability partner?
No, and that's obviously something that that's why you have to take into consideration the prayer aspect of things, because when they become your accountability partner, that's the opportunity for them to open up to you about their relationship, their struggles, what they face. Then you will begin to know certain things about their relationship that you didn't know in the first place. And this is the thing, it doesn't just happen. It's not just going to be like, oh, straight away you're being cancelled or you've been given advice. It could be a thing of where, let's go to dinner. Let's do this. Let's hang out. Let's get to know each other. And you begin to see how the couple interacts with each other. They begin to see how you interact with yourselves. You know, you go to the table and you're both like unsure about what to eat, or thank you for something. Unsure about what to eat, or you know, you start arguing over water or something like that, and they're kind of like, so you do have to have that space where you get to know them and they get to know you, but I feel like you begin to know more about their relationships the more you have the communication going on about the issues that you're facing, because most of the time they're going to advise you based on what they've experienced, and that's how you're going to really begin to know what this couple is really about. Because again, you know, sometimes we think we know people, but we don't. And we only really get to know people when we actually begin to spend time with them and start to, you know, have a look into their relationship. Because some people think they know people, but they don't. You know, you might see a couple that's been around your family for a long time and you think, oh yeah, we know Ben and you know, Lisa. But then Ben and Lisa become your accountability partner, and you start and you're like, whoa, wow, you guys went through that. We didn't know. Oh my gosh, how did you overcome it? Like, really, the kid. And then you begin, you know, so you're not going to know everything about them straight away, but you're going to know them to some degree, you know, because it is going to be people that you're going to feel like, yes, Lord, can I actually trust these people with my relationship? So yeah,
I think so. So there was like you squashed together so many questions there, and like good ones, right? So just to kind of summarize what Sarah said, so do you have to already have a strong relationship with a couple before you can choose them as your accountability? Yes, you need to observe them, you need to get an understanding of them, and as that relationship develops, then you can say boom boom boom. You wouldn't ask a couple that you don't know is successful to mentor you ultimately is the thing. So, or can someone really be an accountability couple if you don't have a certain level of insight into their relationship? So again, I think that's the same question, like you're stacking that. And then should you pick a couple to be your AC that you don't know enough about their relationship? So same question, I guess, 3 different ways. And ultimately there needs to be a little bit of research and understanding of what exists before you go in. You don't want to ask Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde to mentor you, because that could be danger. All right.
I think she's got one more.
Yeah, I think we've got one last question here from Grace. What would you say to a couple who really struggles with opening up to other people about their relationship, even people close to them? How do they pick someone to hold them accountable?
And it's funny, I was going to mention that because when I said I was going to mention it, I was going to say that there are people out there that really struggle to talk, really struggle to open up.
Yeah.
You know, we spoke about this before in previous shows regarding the communication, and you have some, you might have a partner who just does not like talking, don't like talking about their relationship, don't want their wife chatting their business. They get angry about those type of things. Yeah. You know, again, we know that person's operating in pride because they cannot be helped and their relationship is struggling, but yet still because of, you know, the way they are, the way they've always been, they haven't been a talkative person, they just don't, or they've never even experienced that kind of love from others. Yeah. And this is the thing, so many people have been hurt so many times, and, you know, they put up these walls and they take these walls into marriage, you know, and those walls are affecting their marriage. It's affecting the spouse, it's affecting the children. It trickles down. It starts to affect finances, health, and so many different things when people just don't know how to communicate, don't know how to talk. And it's not that they don't know how to communicate. Sometimes people just don't want to talk about their relationship. You know, it's just like, well, what are you going to do for me? How are you going to help? Like, are you going to come up to my house and live here for a week and sort this out kind of thing? You know, so some people do kind of have that attitude. But you know, when people just really struggle with discussing certain things about their relationship, it shows that they have communication issues, period.
Come on.
You know, they have communication issues anyway. You know, if someone cannot sit down and see, if someone cannot stop to see that their relationship is really struggling, and like I said in the beginning, you might have tried to talk about it, it ends up in a big argument. You might have tried to talk about it, it ends up someone leaving the house for a day or an evening or a night or for a few hours even, which is, even that in itself is unacceptable sometimes, you know, and things are just not getting better. And for the fact that the person, you know, finds it hard to think to themselves that they will have another person come in and talk to them and stuff like that. It is a challenging situation, but then for me, it's a thing where the person really has to stop and look at their pride issue and really like begin to humble themselves. Like we said, this whole thing is part of humility. You know, who finds it easy to just sit down and just start saying that, you know, things are not working when everybody thinks things are working. And I think
just to expand on your last point there, I think the key is, you know, the thing about accountability is you need to be willing to accept your wrongs.
That's right.
So it's like, firstly, someone's going to your spouse is going to point at you and say you're wrong in the presence of someone else, not in the safety of your own home. And then, as they say that, you have to be willing to acknowledge, you know, I am wrong. I've done some wrong, or at least they see what I've done wrong. And it's to the point where we're coming to accountability. So there needs to be a shift and a change. And I think like we see this, like Sarah said it, like this really is a tell that there are some deeper issues there. And you know, we spoke previously about counselling or coaching, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's very important. I said this from top end, right? So this I want to come back to the question a little bit, but this is key, because if an individual isn't whole, they can't support another individual who isn't whole. Marriage is about the union, the unity of two whole people coming together to make a new whole, basically. Right. And it's like this is, I'm thinking about eggs right now, you know. It's like, so it's not egg whites and egg yolks. It's one egg, and like, you know, a recipe says we require 2 eggs. Yeah, and it's not we want 2 egg whites and two yolks. It's we want 2 eggs. So you need a complete egg and a complete egg. And when you whisk them together, you now have 2 eggs, which make your whatever it is. Yeah. Your scrambled egg is 1 scrambled egg. It's not 2 2 eggs scrambled together. Or your omelette is now an omelette is an omelette. It's not, you don't call it, oh, this is 2 eggs. It's an omelette, right? Yeah. Okay, I had to get my language right. See, she was ready to call me out now. So that's the point. So I think the key here is to really acknowledge the fact that in the relationship, individual soundness, wholeness is important.
That's right.
And if you get to a situation where you're talking about, like what Grace is saying here, where you've got a couple, because she said, what would you say to a couple who really struggles? So it's not one side, and it's not one side, it's the couple themselves.
Yeah, it's the same thing though, isn't it?
And yes,
it's the same thing.
And this is why I bring in the wholeness issue, because if both parties have an issue with sharing their relationship challenges with an accountability couple, then there's a tell there that there's an underlying issue. Like I said, when we started out, and Sarah's is happy to talk about to everyone about everything about us. Not back in the day. Yeah, you were. She was. But we'll come back to this. But obviously when I came in, it was like, Rex, we ain't talking to no one about nothing. This is just me and you. So obviously, some might, from the externally perceive, one person in a relationship doesn't want to share, but the other person, they're happy to talk. So I'm saying based on that logic there, obviously, someone might say, I had some issues that need to be ironed out. Do you understand? But as we've established, it helped us. It was for good reason, and it wasn't just we don't know to know what's going on. It was just because of the negative things that have been observed. This was a positive approach to take. Relationships require privacy. When a husband and wife go to bed at night, there's no people looking through the window. It's like it's a private space, and our relationships are an extension of that. It's the same thing. So it's important for us to acknowledge that as a reality, that there is this need, there is this requirement for us to have that level of privacy.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
definitely, and I think, and to be fair, I feel like establishing privacy in your relationship early on is a great thing to begin to have, because if you do have, a spouse,
let's call it boundaries.
Yeah, if you do have a spouse that's extremely talkative, he or she. She
said he or she.
Dave, I already told you you're talking.
Yeah. Okay. She's a talker.
And they're extremely talkative, and they're not shy, and they're not
shy. I thought.
Oh my gosh.
We must be praying for our spouses.
We must pray. and they're just kind of like, and they like talking, and they like hearing what other people have got to say, and you kind of notice that, and you think to yourself, the person that is quite reserved obviously has to be able to say to their spouse, like, hun, look, I get it. This is how you are. I understand. So I'm not trying to take that away from you. I'm not trying to shut you down. I'm not trying to say don't be, a person that likes to talk to people or interact with people. But when it comes to the relationship, we have to have boundaries.
Come on.
Like, you can't be going out on girls' night and just be like, yeah, we be doing this and da-da-da-da-da. Oh my gosh, so what you lot doing? Da-da-da. There are some people who are just cool to just talk about everything. Even though I like to talk, I don't like to talk about everything. You know what I'm trying to say?
Anymore.
So, but she wasn't there.
Okay. Sorry, I wasn't there. I don't know.
So for me, it's one of those things where I love the fact that Ezekiel was able to kind of be like, hun, like, you need to learn to zip it, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? I was like, and I wasn't like, you trying to hold me down? You trying to stop me from being me? It wasn't none of that. I understood.
Some people have that
I know, but I kind of was like, oh my gosh, like, I love this man, like, I respect him, and I think it's wisdom, because I know how chatty I can be. Do you get what I'm saying? So I knew it was definitely something, and over the past 20 plus years, it's really helped. It's really helped, kind of thing, to give us that privacy that we need, and we give what we want.
Yes.
As opposed to it's just being given. Yeah. Like, we give what we feel is
required.
Yeah,
exactly.
Basically.
100%. I agree. Yeah. So just let's come back to tackle this wholly and completely. So what would you say to a couple who really struggles to open up to other people about their relationship? If you don't eat it, it can't affect you. If you don't drink it, you can't be refreshed or replenished by it. And this is the reality. If you don't go out there and reach out, for the accountability, it can't help you. That's just it. So you're in a bubble all by yourself. And early on, before this question came up, what did I say? I said, for the first early seasons of our relationship, we were successful and able to, obviously, let's say marriage, not relationship. Well, our relationship was successful, but we had our challenges. But as the Lord graced us with the marital years, early stages, we did that without accountability, and we were good. But then as we entered into the latter phase, and we had the accountability couples that stood by us, and they strengthened and emboldened our relationship. So. For us, I think that it empowered us over time. Yeah,
but even though we didn't have accountability couples early on, we still had, mum praying. We still had, we were able to go to dad and kind of be like, look, this is, do you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like we didn't have like anything. We still had.
There was counsel. There was counsel, but not in the form that we have it presently today. Exactly. That's right. Yeah, that's right. And it's like even the same question, like mid part of the question says, even people close to them. So that's just saying we're not talking about accountability couples. People close to them. And the same thing. I'd say again, it's like, if we don't reach out for counsel can't affect us. Like if a person doesn't pray to God, it's like, how does God answer that prayer for you? Really? Do you know what I mean? It's like you ask and you shall receive is what the scripture says. So how do they pick someone? Told them accountable. I think we kind of touched on that. Do you want to really just summarize? How do they pick someone? Yeah.
Oh yeah, we mentioned that, isn't it?
No, I think the point here is if it's difficult for them to talk, if it's difficult for them to share, how do they pick an accountability couple?
The only thing I can really say on that is the people that they feel most comfortable with, because there's going to be someone, regardless of, everybody's got that someone. Yeah. Every couple's got that couple to start with. And this is the thing, even if you start with people that you know that are close to you, it's a start. It's better than nothing. But obviously, if you start with them and you start to see that maybe it's just not working, then obviously at that point you then have to move on. Yeah. But I would definitely say start with people that you're comfortable with, that you're close with, a couple that you've known for a long time. Their character, like they've never judged your relationship, they've never like picked a side, or even though some people don't talk, everyone's gone to someone with an issue. Like no one can't say to me that they haven't taken any issue to no one. And we know people that don't talk at all. Yeah. At all. But they've gone to certain people in their life with an issue. Yeah. And, by God's grace, they've received some kind of wisdom and counsel from that person. So those are the type of people that you can look for in your life to be like, okay. And you know what? It might be the fact that, the person might be married, but you don't feel comfortable. You've never really you don't have a relationship with the other person, the other spouse like that. And it could be something maybe where you just sit down and say, I know we don't know auntie like this, but could it be possible for maybe us and you guys to sit down, and that way you can begin to know the
develop the relationship,
or the husband, whichever one it is, you get my drift. So that's what I would say regarding that. Like start with what they say, isn't it? Start with what and if there are people that you can start there. You can just literally say to them, like, can you help us out? Like, you already know I don't like talking so much, but I feel like this relationship needs kind of some kind of intervention. Like, can you guys help us out, kind of thing.
Agreed, 100%. Just make sure that you use those qualifiers that we said earlier on in the stream. Come on, guys, listen, you got to share this video, subscribe if you're not subscribed. We need you on this channel for the YouTube algorithm to recommend these videos to other people. You got to get it popping. We're going to have a question. Yeah. You want to go?
There you go.
Ecosmia says, I was going to ask, what if you have a spouse who isn't willing to submit to the counsellor or accountability coach? But I think you were just answering that. Thank you both. Yeah, I think we've kind of touched on that to a degree, and it's a real challenge basically. So it needs to be God first, as we said earlier on, the couple next, and then the accountability couple.
That's right.
And the sole purpose of going to accountability really is to help you achieve your relationship goals. Do you understand that? If you have no goals for a relationship, then you don't need no accountability. Exactly. Do you know what I'm saying? But if you have goals and there is a desire to improve, and I think that needs to be the prerogative that's used to kind of encourage, to persuade the spouse who's not so willing. So I think it's important. If there's really a united goal or vision to achieve these goals, then somehow we'll be willing to kind of break down our character or misgivings over a certain thing to get over the line and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to give myself to this because it's for the benefit of a relationship. And earlier I was talking about is the benefit of the children as well. So,
I mean, also the person who isn't willing to submit, you know, will at some point, if this continues, you know, we'll see that they are the problem. They're the problem, because if one person, if one person is trying and the accountability partners are trying and this person is just being, you know, doing whatever they want, they're saying that they don't want the help. They don't want the help. Like I said, like the people that you are using as accountability partners, they're giving you your time.
Come on.
They're giving you their words, which are precious. You know, they're opening themselves up to you as well, to some degree. So it's a, you know, if someone continues on that path, it's a disrespect anyway. Straight. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a disrespect. The person's being disrespectful. You might as well just turn around and say, I don't want to, as opposed to keep going, having them talk to you for hours, and you turn around and throw it. Exactly. So it does get to a point where even, you know, the person will clearly kind of realise for themselves, like, well, you know, everyone will see it. The accountability partner, the husband, the wife, whoever it is, they will see that the other person is outright being, you know, disrespectful in a sense. And then it's also saying that they don't want to fix it. They don't want to fix things. They want to be that spot brat in the relationship who just does whatever they want. And again, that in itself is toxic. You know, we've spoke about this before. Having attitudes like that does not get a relationship far. After a while, someone's gonna cave it. It's gonna cave in. And, you know, it's gonna be like, we've tried. We've all tried. You know, and you just don't want to. So yeah, at some point, you know, if the person gets to the place where they really want to better the relationship, they'll stop giving. They won't carry on like that.
Yeah,
they won't carry on like that.
Prayer.
Yes.
Praise the Lord. I think we just answered that question.
Race. I said, yeah, I did say there is a difference if one person in the relationship doesn't want to share as versus both don't. As in one example, there is one spouse who may encourage the other to get accountability. However, if both are private, they just won't seek out any help at all.
Yeah, I think that's just re-clarifying what we discussed, yeah?
Yeah.
Super stuff.
Oh, guys. Oh, my gosh. I feel so emotional.
So...
However...
It's all for the greater good. It's all for the greater good.
It is. God's grace will come bigger and better.
So, look, the focus is...
Zeke and Sarah.
So, listen. So, like, we said this at the top end. I'm going to go for it again. So, there's been a decision that we've made, basically, to take some time out from where we are.
Yeah.
So first thing, obviously, you know, Sarah's got another channel where she's doing some stuff. I won't talk to you about another channel that I've been operating on. But ultimately, it doesn't mean we're going to stop creating content. It's like we're still here on Saturdays for our streams. Sarah's been pressing me. She really wants us to start putting our Wednesday prayers. So like we've got a backlog of content that needs to come out on this very channel here as well. We're not forsaking the marriage stuff. That we've got such a heart to do a lot more content, a lot more resources, like, you know, other videos, live sessions, workshops, like call-ins. These are things that we've been talking about. Sarah's been pressing about. So there's other stuff we want to do, but there is a requirement because we need help. We need to refocus and organize stuff. Like there are other things going on in the background, so other projects and stuff that are coming up. So we really need to take time just to really refocus. And like I said, this key earlier on, the key focus is really to allow the Lord to lead us forward. Definitely. So it may be, we may be away for a month, we may be away for a few months, but we're trusting the Lord that we'll come back by His grace. It will be bigger and better. Same quality content that you're seeing now, just bringing our heart, bringing our desire to see relationships strengthened in the name of the Lord. So,
and you guys know how much I like having guests as well, you know, so I might be implementing some guests into the show. I definitely 100%, I'm just like, I'd love to hear the voices of the audience. So that's something, you know, like as you just mentioned. So yeah, we definitely want to come back with, you know, something a lot more rich, you know. So yes, But you know what? Either way, we're thanking God for every single one of you that has stayed with us throughout this process.
It's been a blessing.
It's been such a blessing, and we pray that when we return, you'll return also with more. Amen. With so much more. So yeah.
All right. So this has been Ezekiel.
No, I don't want to say it.
Come on, we got to say it now. This has been Ezekiel.
And I've been Sarah.
And we've been here today for another episode of Marriage Matters Live. So we'll see you after the break. We'll be back. All right.
Do you want to kiss me on stage now, Jack?
Bye, guys.